no! I should have brought.
Oh, I got it. There's plenty of beer.
That's right. You're not driving.
It just takes a minute to get in there.
I'm not driving. I'm good. I'm just trying to make my back feel better. It doesn't matter.
I have.
He's scary to drive with, though.
Oh yeah.
Like he accelerates quickly and brakes hard.
Yeah.
and in the rain, that's scary.
Yeah.
Especially
What's
like
a
those.
Subaru though?
It is. It's got the all-wheel drive.
Behind those guys.
At least I got.
I got all-wheel drive. I'll just jump out in front of you.
Yeah. This is loud.
It launches.
And welcome to this week's Jockcast. We are here in Eugene, Oregon, where last week it was hot, this week it is raining. We are joined today by special guest Mike from Geek Farms. So for all of you in Oregon, if you don't know who Geek Farms are, you're doing it wrong. For everybody else out there, they grow, I'm a snob. And my guy, I'm a jerk about people's cannabis. Maybe not to your face, but if it ain't on point, it ain't on point. Geek Farms puts out what I believe is, and this is of opinion, the highest quality flower cannabis in the world.
No, for real.
Yeah, it's no joke.
We all smoke stuff from around the country.
That.
Yeah, and you got a bunch of jerks in this room saying that. So
I'm a weed snob too. So even the weed that I don't smoke, it's not mine.
So what you're saying is you do grow some crappy stuff, we just never see it.
Honestly, yeah, yeah.
Love it.
There's a standard, and I think that everybody should set that. And if it doesn't meet your standards, you shouldn't put it out to market and let it look. It
that
represents
is
your brand.
Exactly the opposite of this market.
Right.
Like a direct opposite of what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Everything becomes oil.
Yeah. Well.
No, have you went in and looked at the shelves of cannabis and dispensaries?
Oh, yeah.
Terrible.
There's three things, two maybe, that you're like, I would pay money for that.
Right.
Everything else is like what your homie gives you that he grew in his backyard.
Oh, totally.
I think the current market trend too has a lot to do with newcomers, and newcomers want to come into super cheap. Like when you were 19, and you bought beer from your buddy, did you always buy Cascade and the high end stuff?
Nah, dude, Mickey
I did.
Exactly. Give me a 6-pack of PBR Tall Boys.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing that we're still dealing with. We have this flood of people newcomers that start off and they try something that's cheap and easy going, and then as they kind of work into it, we've been smoking weed forever, so our customer base is still our old customer base,
right?
It's not a lot of new people. It's nice when they do get a little bit more more versed in in high-end weed. But
yeah,
see, I think people are just cheap and they like paying less money than they did on the black market back in the day.
Of course, a lot of that is, yeah. I mean, we come from the medical market, where a lot of people were getting 2+ pounds a year for free.
Yeah.
So, now they got to pay for it in the dispensary, so it's kind of rough.
Wanted to throw out there before we get too deep into this. This episode is brought to us by Grow Magazine. And Grow Magazine is a horticulturally cannabis-based magazine. Let's see. It says the quintessential cannabis horticulture magazine on the front. So those are words.
Who writes for that? There's a lot of...
Ed Rosenthal.
Ed? And then who else?
I don't know.
Somebody that's quintessential, though.
Yeah.
So, I think it's...
So, I have an article or two in there sometimes. It's probably a reason why they decided to go ahead and sponsor this.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not terrible. I don't know. I wouldn't publish my writing, but...
Someone did.
I appreciate it. I really
Someone
do.
Did.
New issue out right now is the sun-grown issue, so we're talking about going into the outdoor harvest this year. I did do an article about hemp and CBD and what's that looking like this year. It got some great input in that issue from Mike himself sitting here. Also have 2 from TSK in there and Odie.
Oh,
so they're all quoted in my article, which is really cool. And we're just kind of talking about the idea of CBD and hemp and where that market's going. And
right.
So, yeah. So check them out. Also, Right now, we have it set up on the Facebook and such. I know this isn't live, so, you know.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah. But go ahead and go on there. Give us a like. Give us a comment. And at the end of the episode, we're going to have Mike pick one person to get a free 2-year subscription.
2 year.
2 years.
That's a lot.
And that's $5 an issue. So you're looking at what? It comes out 4 times a year.
What are you looking at? You're looking at about $10,000. What do you use for kickback?
My kickback? My kickback was free magazines for us to read. Yeah. No money. No money.
I'm going to pick myself because looking through this, it's actually kind of a nice magazine.
Dude, it's not a bad... as far as industry mags go, I've had offers to write for other mags, and it's not something I was interested in. I don't want to write about how hot my dabs are. But this is more... It's like doing...
How hot are your dabs?
Pretty fucking hot, man. Yeah. But it's like me doing Canagrow, you know. I get asked to speak at a bunch of things, but I like the educational stuff. I like the...
Well, I was thumbing through a dope magazine the other day, and I was surprised at how little dope was in there. And this is, this is like straight just like, oh, there's weed, more weed, more weed. So it's nice to see.
Well, you know, you got grow tips and stuff in there, and then you got... at the end, they do like a little showcase of the different genetics from different farms, which is cool. This next issue that's coming out, I talked him into doing a breeder showcase because breeding is kind of what I'm all about.
Right.
And
who's going to be in that?
Come on. First one, of course, it's Odie.
Oh,
like
without
the legend. You know, why start weak? You know.
Right.
So.
It's a strong one. Start strong.
So it's a pretty cool mag. Check it out, and hopefully you win a 2-year subscription, and you can read all sorts of stupid stuff.
What's that on?
Instagram? Instagram and Facebook. Mm-hmm. Look it up. Also, I wanted to call out real quick Joe and Chelsea from the greener side. I rolled in there yesterday to get some Geek Farms stuff to try out and supported the local store. Love the greener side, love the quality. The bud tender I worked with was actually super cool, and like
even though you touched the weed,
I believe it.
Yeah, I did. I bought it though. I bought it. But he was super knowledgeable and like really cool.
Yeah,
and kind of a down to earth kid. Like they seem to hire well in there.
They do.
So yeah, Joe and Chelsea, greener side. Thank you so much. Love your products. They are in Eugene. They're also in Detroit Lake. So when you're up there boating or fishing or camping or doing your thing, you ain't got to drive back into town to get your nuggets.
No, it's gonna be a great summer.
It's in a great convenient spot too. I mean, it's right by the pizza spot.
Do they have a dock?
Right.
No, they're right across the street from the dock.
Dude, what they need is to be on the lake with a dock, so homies can just roll up in the boat and get the delivery to the boat. There's
only like eight buildings in all of Detroit, so I think the selection there is kind of limited.
I'm saying, do a delivery service where you walk it across the street down to the dock. You just hand it off to the dude in the jet ski.
I think that's pretty easy to do. They should do that.
All right. So we're going to interview Mike here in a little bit, but I wanted to jump into some news stuff that's been happening here lately. First, a lot of news has been coming out about the man himself, Donald Duck, and Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And he says he may support that bill that was put in to kind of go back to the days of the Coleman Boo, even a little bit better and respect states' rights with cannabis. Did you guys read that?
Well, it's had a little bit more, legs.
It did.
Than the Cole memo.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, it's nice and it looks like a really good bill to at least save us a little bit. But having Donald Trump even remark on it is a good thing. Right. But realistically, I mean,
did you think Sessions had a seizure when he heard him remark on it?
Yeah. I mean, I think that everybody in that legislation ends up having a seizure one way or another, depending on the day. It's like he's too liberal. He's too. This way. He's too that way. It's just.
Aren't you and Jeff friends, Adam? Because of Leonard Law?
Jeff Sessions knows who I am.
Yeah, I know he knows who you are.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Is it true he has a picture of you on a dartboard on the back of his office?
He might. You're
on speed dial.
Yeah, I might be.
What are you, like number 12?
Might have a picture of me taped in his toilet. I don't know, man. No, I don't poke that bear. Let's not poke that bear. But Trump says he may. So when Donald Trump says he may or he might do something, who knows? Who knows? I don't know.
My idea was he was going to do this before the election to get back in.
I mean, right now would be a good time to try and get some liberal support,
the conversation about
right?
it.
Like, get the conversation going, being like, I can be kind of like Bernie Sanders too, you know? Like, I don't know. So personally, I don't see it going anywhere, but it might.
It's good press.
Having the conversation is important, right?
Yeah, I think that's more of it, is like having a open conversation and not being too heated about it either.
I watched a video, though, and it led me to believe that if I use cannabis, I'm going to go to jazz clubs, and I'm going to have a mental breakdown. And
that's for sure.
You're going to play the oboe.
I might. So, yeah, we want to keep that out of the hands of kids.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Jazz is terrible.
And another thing, Canada. Lighten it up. That went ahead and passed through the next step. I don't think it's going to stop. I feel like they're going to be legalized pretty damn soon. So good for them.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Canada, on not being stupid. Like, some common sense, right? Like, common sense legislation.
I know it's still really hard, and even the legal market that's there right now is like crazy regulated in the way that they can actually do things. So hopefully, it becomes a little bit more easier for small businesses to be able to work within those boundaries.
Yeah.
Is it harder than metric?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Canada Canada is like crazy undersupplied in their medical system right now.
Right.
So there's like this big undersupply, because it's the same thing, that we're going to end up seeing here. Is like over time you're going to have this oversupply of like really junk that's not really effective and is better suited for processing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I did see some interesting documents from the OLCC about purchasing, though, and what is the most purchased items in the system. And flour, far and away, is the highest selling product. So if everybody keeps on growing all of this low grade and it all keeps on getting blasted, like, where does that... how does that fit in? It was like 70%.
It's 70%. Yeah, 70% is the number. But we're seeing a slow degrade in that. The trends are always going. It's actually going more towards vaporization is definitely the main thing. Pens are becoming the upward tick.
I always thought that too, and I think there's a whole market of older folks out there that would probably love those pina colada flavored, pens.
Yeah. And I think that there's a lot of even the high grade terpene, cannabis based terpene ones that are coming about that are actually going to
those
be
are
really
fantastic.
Popular.
Oh, you mean like the Clay Wolf terpenes and?
Yeah, I mean, WVA is
they're great.
Doing some of those which are just crazy. Those super limited release ones that they've done are dumb. Yeah. Anyway.
You liked your
Andy got some of those. Ghost OG Diamonds, Doghouse, Willamette Valley Alchemy. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah?
Just fantastic.
That's awesome.
It might be some of the best hash I've ever smoked.
It's crazy.
That's Se1Ep2. You smoke a lot of hash.
It was so good.
How's Propane Jane going to feel about this?
Oh.
Yeah, well, I mean...
You didn't think about that, did you?
Propane is different.
It's totally different.
Her stuff is ham, though. It's so good.
The wet sand aspect of stuff is like my favorite. So that goes with it.
This was like wet sand with a giant chunk of rock in the middle, just surrounded. Yeah.
I've never seen like propane based diamonds, so that's awesome. And they've always been like really like gritty kind of.
Yeah. Like flakes of diamond laying in some juice. Yeah. Yeah. Deliciousness.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Well, any other news you guys hear of?
No.
Going on?
There's all kinds of news. I got really high beforehand, so
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I love the news of they're gonna try to put inspectors on farms when they're harvesting outdoor.
Yeah, 72-hour notice.
Yeah.
Interesting, and they want somebody
how
there.
Do that.
Well, the logistics of that is crazy.
Yeah, why can they even?
Well, I don't think they're going to have anybody on farm. I think it's just a notification system, and then they can go and they can jump on site if needed. I think that the last few years there's been a lot of like talk about the diversion aspect of things, and where the quickest diversions go is during that harvest time, because you can just destroy, quote unquote, those plants. So I think that is the biggest concern with OLCC when it comes to that. But there's overstepping to try to limit that when you're hurting the actual small farmers and stuff. So there's always a fine line.
That's gonna be weird.
What are they gonna do? Post a dude up? You know, is there gonna be dude posted up out there,
That's
just
what they
sitting
made it
there
sound like.
watching you?
That's what they made it sound like.
Like
Yeah.
you're gonna have a harvest investigator.
Yeah.
Harvest
Outside.
investigator.
No,
Yeah, I think some of
highly
those
doubt
really,
that's
really
gonna
big
Right.
farms
They can't even do
maybe should.
inspections. How
Yeah.
are you gonna do harvest?
No, that's an interesting thing,
Can you
and
hold off your harvest? I can't make it till.
right, right. You can tell them up to a month in advance. Like, this is what I'm planning on harvesting. Like, have
That's
they never
crazy.
grown outdoor before? Like,
Right.
what happens when the typhoon hits? Like it did that one year, and we had to harvest everything in 48 hours, and we had about 24 hours notice to get it done. Like, I don't have 72 hours to wait.
I think the key here is that, like, a lot of these laws, not laws, but rules are kind of made based on, snap judgments that are easy to be adjusted if there's quality input.
Yeah.
Like I've had issues with certain regulations where we contact the OLCC, discuss it, and then 4 or 5 days later there's a memo that's sent out to all of the licensees regarding that one
Right.
issue. But it's the people that just kind of like F you, I shouldn't have to do that.
Right.
What's the solution? There is no solution. Just F you. Stop
Well,
stop looking at me.
I feel like a lot of people think that it's a big system, and not everybody knows everyone and stuff like that. But it really is a small world
It
kind of
is.
system.
Yeah.
You know,
It really
like
is.
the waves happen quick. If you do something, or like when somebody does something wrong, all of a sudden that's all we're talking about, right? And that's like one person out of 2,000.
Right.
So it's a small pool we're in. We think it's big, but I don't know.
Well,
Yeah. It's,
The other thing going on now is the medical grow having to go to a metric system.
if you have over 12 plants at your residence, then you have to go into the metric
Are
system.
they going into metric, or is it still the
Yeah.
CTS?
CTS, but I think if you want to, you can move 20 pounds
But
into the OLCC
to,
system.
but that's to a wholesaler or a processor only,
Right.
right?
Which is fine.
Which then they would intake into the metric
But I think
system?
at that point, no, I think
right.
you have to be filed with. I don't know. I don't know.
It's
I
so
don't know.
That's
confusing.
ridiculous. That
I know
rule
it's
would
just
have to go
CTS,
to
but the CTS has
wholesale.
been.
I stayed with just my medical card and my 4 rec plants to keep me at 10 because I don't want to mess with it.
My medical card for the first time ever has lapsed.
Uh-oh.
Right.
Yeah, like I've. Yeah,
What
it's
have you done?
been some time.
Wow.
Well, I never really expected that to ever happen, but yeah.
Or even to feel like.
I mean, well, being on the coast where I'm at, there's within 30 minutes, there's one spot that has a doc, and you're lucky to get them once a month.
Oh, wow.
And I'm a VA, insurance person, so I can't get prescribed by the VA. So
Well, did they
Wait.
just say something about that this week?
no, so they won't allow them to prescribe it, but you can openly talk to them about it now.
Oh, okay.
So that's something they're talking about, which I've been, like in Oregon, the Oregon VA system has been pretty loose about it for a while, so I've been openly talking about cannabis use with my doctor for the last, 6 years,
Nice.
realistically. But,
Right.
it's still the kind of the same thing. They'll limit secondary prescriptions for you because you're using cannabis and stuff like that.
Bastards.
All right. Well, that's fun.
It's too bad you couldn't work with them on that either. Like there was absolutely no grease when I did that.
Well, I mean, who's
like,
going
just
to work
work with me, let you
who's
set
going to
that
work
up.
with the VA?
Yeah,
You know
right.
what I mean?
Right. So what something I wanted to do with all the guests coming in is kind of like the actor studio. So as we get into an interview with a guest and we start talking to them, I kind of wanted to have the idea that we inside the actor studio questions, but make them for the cannabis industry. I'm not looking for long, detailed answers with this stuff, Mike. Just give me a one sentence. This is how I feel about it.
I got it.
All right. So my questions for Mike were: what is your favorite strain?
What is my favorite strain? That's a really hard one. I'll say Doctor Who is my favorite
All
strain.
right. What's your least favorite strain?
My least favorite strain, I would say, is Blue Dream.
Wow.
I knew it.
Wow.
Dude,
I knew it was going to come
I,
out.
I absolutely knew you were going to say it.
And why is that?
Why is
Just the commercialism of it? The sick of
No,
it? The
I
sick
mean,
of death?
well, I mean,
Jim,
I've
what's
seen-
your favorite strain?
We're doing
Oregon
Geek Mike's
Diesel.
question.
But I'm pretty sure he's
Oregon
Blue
Diesel.
Dream.
No.
Blue Dream is
I want, yeah.
All right. So what style of growing cannabis turns you on the most?
What style turns me on the most?
Yeah.
Like, I'm really into vermiculture and stuff like that. So I would say vermiculture turns me on the most.
And that's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So what growing style turns you off the most?
What aeroponics.
Right.
All right. What terpenes do you love?
I love linalool, and I love azulene.
Okay.
Yeah.
What terpenes do you hate?
I wouldn't say I hate any terpenes, but maybe sulfur.
Sulfur.
Yeah, that's a base terpene, isn't it? That's something, right?
Flavonoid?
It might be. I don't know. I wouldn't want to taste that one though.
Okay. What is your favorite buzzword or saying in the industry?
Strands.
That's your favorite?
Yeah, buzzword.
It's not cultivar.
Strands.
No strands.
Okay. All right. What job in this industry, other than the one you do now, would you like to attempt?
What job in this industry?
That is correct.
Other than the one that I have now, would I like to attempt? Honestly, in this industry, no other job I
Okay.
would like to attempt.
So, what job outside of the industry would you like to attempt?
So if I was going to do anything else, straight up, I would be an orchid farmer or
Awesome.
a high-end flower farmer for sure. That's what I would go with.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what job
still
in
do
this
that.
industry? Well, let's just say, what job would you not want to do?
What job would I not? A trimmer. I
Right,
hate
every
being
day.
a trimmer. It's like being in the mailroom at a corporate office. It's no fun.
Gotcha. All right, the last one from the Actors Studio Cannabis Edition. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say about your grow when you arrive?
if heaven exists, what would I like God to say when he arrived at my grow?
When you arrive,
When I arrive,
God's like, there, homie, what's up? Dude, I've been looking at your grow and...
So straight up, I need God to cuss a lot. So,
All right.
So he would have to say like, that shit is motherfucking dank. It would have to be something like that.
Some air horns go off in the background.
Yeah, like
Like
I need
Chris
2
Tucker.
chains behind them
It's
and
just
being
Chris
like,
Tucker going, hey.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he needs.
bro?
Yeah, he definitely needs like air horns behind him and being like, "Bwah, bwah, bwah."
I just-
Shit stank, bitch.
I just want to start adding air horns to all sorts of things in my life,
Yeah.
and I know I'm like, 10 years behind when that was even like considered kind of cool.
Was that a thing?
But I think it's ironic now, and I like ironic funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want like a little button I hit like a device, and it just plays air horns wherever I'm at.
Bwah, bwah.
I'll take a Big Mac and a large Coke.
It has to be that specific air horn that has like the build up, right? You know what I mean.
All right, sweet. So let's get into grilling Mike. Kind of question should we ask him? See, we already know everything about
We
Mike.
do. So, yeah, thinking about this, it's like, so how did you get into growing and smoking weed? Because you come from a vet background. You did-
Right. So my mom always smoked weed growing up. My mom used to trim weed for rent money. So like that was always
Just
a
kind of
thing.
around it.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
throughout high school, I always kind of grew up thinking how weed was not really, it's something my mom does.
Right.
Like no big deal. And I smoked it occasionally, but it wasn't really my thing until, I smoked it occasionally, once a month or something, because that's what you do in Oregon as a
Yeah.
teenager.
Down in Depot Bay.
Yeah, exactly. And then I joined the Army.
on the mean streets of Depot,
Depot
Bay.
Bay! Mean Street.
Yeah. And then I joined the Army, and then you're in the Army, and you can only smoke when you're on, long vacations, so it's
Yeah.
about once a year. And then I got out, and then I was smoking pretty much right when I got home, but it wasn't a lot. It was, once a month,
Right.
maybe once every 2
Beer and
months.
bud.
Yeah, occasionally.
Yeah.
And then, had my comeback issues from combat stuff, and my my mother-in-law actually handed me a fat sack and was like, "You need to smoke more weed."
How was that weed?
It was pretty. Actually, she had a pretty good source. So honestly, like straight up, the weed was actually pretty okay.
It could have been terrible, right? She hands you a bag of old feet sweat or something.
Yeah.
Just seeds and stems.
Well, yeah. But like before, so she used to make edibles on a regular basis, and that was kind of where I started with her. And she would give me like a little cookie, and like a tiny cookie, and you would lose your feet within an hour. You'd just be like, I don't know where they went. I'm just walking on stubs now.
The worst cookies ever.
But yeah, then I pretty much from there, started using cannabis more regularly, and I noticed a lot better daily effect.
Did you have like an aha moment where you're like, oh?
Yeah, definitely. Oh. And I actually had to have like a conversation with my wife, and I was like, hey, I know it's weird, but I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to smoke weed. And then the next day, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to smoke weed and I'm going to see how it goes. And she was like, I don't know if that's okay. I was like, well, I'm going to do it.
Happening.
And then I did it and I was like, holy shit. This is the best day I've ever had in my life. Right. Because I started off, because I used to just smoke like, 8 o'clock at night right before I go to bed. And that was it. And I had that was like my only window of relief. Mm-hmm. And then, starting off with relief was like, mind blowing and kind of like this very aha moment. So Absolutely. From that point, I started smoking a lot of weed all the time.
Right.
All day, every day.
And that was 2004, 2005.
Wow.
Yeah, 2004, 2005. And then I started from
When did you really start growing in earnest for yourself?
2009. I was buying a lot of weed between, I probably tried hard. Not hard. I tried not hard a couple times before that, but with failures on a regular basis. I grew up on the coast and I still live on the coast, so trying to grow weed outside is it's not very lucrative, and dude,
it's that ocean grown though, right?
Yeah,
straight up.
Yeah. So
salt terp.
But
redwoods do just fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
But like Lincoln City would get 100 inches of rain a year. So
so you got to pay for a lot less water. Sounds easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like you can put them outside.
So I think I had my first successful crop in 2009, and then by 2010 I was like buying a tent and I had things kind of ready, and then by 2011 I had like a 6,000 watt situation. But I'd been growing vegetables and we had a goat farm and stuff like that, where we did milk and vegetables and all these other things, and we did farm stands and
was it permaculture-y?
Yeah, very much so.
Nice.
So
it really isn't a big transition for you to farm.
No.
Right, where a lot of us, like for me, it was like, oh, this makes money.
No, well, it was kind of weird because I was growing all my own vegetables. I was growing, I was milking goats twice a day. I was butchering goats, butchering chickens, so I was getting all of our own food, and I was still buying weed for $2.50 an ounce, because like I like the good shit. So I could get the $100 ounces, but I was buying the good stuff because like those $100 ounces just weren't doing it for me.
Yeah.
But I was buying a lot. I was like, this just isn't making up for it.
About $2.50.
The goat stuff just is not paying for the weed.
Yeah.
And so I just upped my scale, and then all of a sudden I just kind of had more weed than I had.
Did you feed all those barnyard animals the lefts?
The goats love leftover cannabis leaves. That's actually one of their favorite things. Yeah, they pick out. Yeah, they definitely pick at them quite a bit, but the goats just devoured them. It was like a snack for them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, pretty much everything's a snack for a goat, though.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Just give it to them and they're going to eat it.
Yeah, pretty much. They're kind of picky when it comes to leaf and, like, stick. They'll, like, pick the leaves off blackberry bushes, but they won't eat the stick, like the stalk of it.
Yeah.
I do love goats, though. Like, goats and goat cheese is my thing.
Yeah, goat cheese is awesome.
You ever have that Humboldt Fog?
Sounds familiar.
It's a blue goat cheese. Damn, son. So good.
I'm sure, my wife buys a lot of like fancy cheeses up and down the coast on a regular basis. We're really
It's like bad though, right? Like it's almost bad, but it's so damn good.
well, like there's different kinds of goat cheeses too. So just kind of like different varieties that go in different flavor profiles.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
So what? I gotta know. I still gotta. Yeah. So what was it like when you proposed to your wife that I'm gonna do this for a living?
Oh, that was actually.
Or was it blatantly obvious?
It was really slow, and it was first like, hey, I'd like to upgrade my grow, and she was like, well, if you can pay for it yourself.
Right.
I was like, okay, cool,
Got
no big
it.
deal. I was like, hey, I'm taking a little bit more of the goat area
Right.
for my grow, and she's like, how are you paying for this? And I'm like, and I just threw a stack of cash down at her, and I was like, hey, this is how I'm paying for it, and she was like, well, that's not so bad.
Yeah. Right.
And then it was just kind of like, hey, here's another stack of cash. Would you like to continue doing this? And she
Right.
was like, oh, well, no, sounds not too
Sounds
bad.
good, yeah.
So,
I know. I
So
remember
that's
pitching
kinda
the
how it
whole, I'm
worked.
gonna grow under the house.
Money moves a lot of gears.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah, it really greases the wheels.
does,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get away with a lot. Look at our president. You can get away with a lot of shit with some money.
Yeah.
A lot of walking around money.
Right?
Oh my god, a lot of shit. You start thinking about it, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. So we're through that. So, like we said, you're kind of known. Your farm is kind of known as, and even back in medical, just kind of known as like the
sorry.
dudes. That's cool. Just play shit, whatever.
I was live streaming.
I've been futzing with the mics the whole time because I'm having issues. So whatever, it's all messed up. So yeah, like when you came into it, obviously you wanted to grow quality because quality is what you kept on spending your money on.
Yeah.
Have you found now with the way that this industry is going, where we're seeing outdoor pounds literally at $100 a pound going to wholesale, and I'm not going to divulge money, but I kind of know what you get per pound selling. One, how much more effort do you think you put into your product than the average farmer puts into it?
Right.
And two, do you see any of those farms surviving in this climate versus somebody like you? And three, third part of this question, is your model like franchisable? Is it sustainable? Is it something you can build larger? Or do you feel like at your size with your team, that's your limit?
I wouldn't say it's franchisable just to start off. I think that's really hard to do. I think that most of what we've done is created a team and a core team that's like really skilled, and we all produce a excellent.
You do have
quality.
the best grower I've ever met on your team.
I know, honestly. Like Oriah is my main production grower, and he produced like for the amount that he produces every single month, the quality that he puts out is beyond spectacular.
Crazy.
And
Just crazy.
And there's a lot of back support to all of that. We make sure that he's capable of doing what he needs to do in the garden, and all of our gardeners are that way. And I do a lot of oversight on everything and make sure that everything's performing well. He maintains a flat canopy amazingly. He does the day-to-days, and I kind of...
How does he do that?
What do you mean?
Every picture he shows
I know.
of me is
Looks
just the canopy.
barbered.
You could put a level on it.
Yeah.
Right.
But how?
He tucks them in.
Well, no, there's a lot of time that's gone into that, but also a lot of skill that's learned techniques on certain strains. Like certain strains do better at at it than others, and some need to be trained certain ways better than others. And we found that with a little bit of effort, you can get a much higher output in the end, especially when it comes down to organic gardening. What we do is not very fast. It doesn't get start to finish as quick as like a hydroponic setup. So what we have to do is utilize that time frame the best that we can to make it as high quality as possible, to be able to make up for that time that we've lost, quote unquote, compared to hydro.
Sure.
So, what was the first part of that question?
I wanted to know, in this industry, the people with the $100 pounds, like what's
Yeah.
going to happen? Like, are they still cool?
Okay.
And also, obviously, you have this product that honestly I can't find in the store sometimes because it sells out so quick and only certain stores had it. Is your business so dependent on the skills of the people that you have that you're not going to be able to expand your business much more than it already is?
So we totally are able to expand it much more than it already is. I think that the hardest thing that we come across is people that are stuck in their modes of doing something one way or what they've been doing for the last 40 years. And that's kind of a hindrance on a lot of new talent. That
I've had to deal with those guys.
Like I
so frustrating.
I met this guy. And
no, bro, seriously, you dump what was it, grape soda?
Make it purple.
Makes it purple.
They're really bringing purple
and
colors in.
Argued with me about it, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
I get that you're old and you've been growing weed forever, but that doesn't make sense. Like, what?
Right.
Anyways,
Well, but we all get it. You know, Yugo, for example, the car was in business for decades. They just built a crappy car for 40 years.
Yeah,
you know, and it's okay. Like you can be a gardener for 40 years, but you might be just growing okay weed for 40 years.
Growing Yugos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of, you know,
Yugo OG. I'm breeding it.
you're kind of just basing on, you know, like what's capable there. The guys with the $100 pounds, for example, like a lot of what's going on right now is just liquidation.
Yeah.
You know, so like a lot of what we're seeing right now is just people sitting on thousands of pounds and they have nothing and they just got to pay their bills from yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so I mean, will they be around tomorrow, the guys that are doing $100 pounds? No, because they're liquidating their assets. They're going below value, below cost of production.
But isn't growing cannabis free?
The electric bill, man. You gotta.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with
280
stuff, I mean, if you're doing your taxes, you're obviously losing money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no this way or that way around it. If you're selling pounds for, you know, like crazy cheap and you're paying your taxes, you're probably failing. So,
Right.
like...
I did want to shout out real quick the Oregon Indigo that I had before we started this podcast. Wow. Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
What are the genetics going into that?
That's Quirkle by Riversong, and Riversong is an in-house cross that we did of our Blue Jay and Doctor Who, and we've been using that for a lot of different breeding projects.
Yeah, he hooked me up with some beans of the Strawberry Cough across the Riversong.
Nice.
And the Death Star across the Riversong and the Bubba 98 across the Riversong. I got them just started right now, but I'll be flowering those soon. That's going to be interesting.
So we have our first testers back on the Strawberry Cough by Riversong.
I'm so excited.
And I guess it's like super strawberry and sweet, like that, you know, the candy sweet from that Riversong. So that's really nice. It's actually like improved that little bit of off strawberry flavor that's in there. And then we just started flowering in our genetic greenhouse, the pre-98 Bubba by Riversong as well. We have 7 other Riversong crosses in there. So
I'll say when I was cutting up that Strawberry Cough Riversong, you know, when you cut and you kind of get those starts of smells.
Yeah.
And it smelled like a dirty pool.
Yeah.
Like the chlorine really needs to be changed.
Filthy. So funny you say that. I actually had a pheno of Oregon Indigo that my main trimmer was like, dude, he's like, this thing smells just like chlorine. It's like, it smells like you just got out of a pool of chlorine.
Yeah.
It's like bleachy.
Dude, that's dang as far. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's hard to achieve.
So that strain is available right now, though. Your Oregon Indigo.
The Indigo
I saw it at the greener side.
We're running to the bottom of it, but you know, I think the greener side has it. Natural Wonders has some in Portland. The coastal shops all have them, but you can check out where we're available at Geek
So I
Farms.
noticed that like you do like tons of shops on the coast, but not that many on the 5. Is that because you're a coast guy and you're repping the hood?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, you know, we're really focusing on our region. In our region, where we're from is the coast, and we want to represent, you know, the coastal grown.
So you're gonna be like DeGard, and you're gonna make me drive 3 hours to get my shit at some point.
Well, we definitely have like DeGard. Like, I mean, we definitely use that as an example. But when you're talking about distribution and stuff like that, you know, the coastal ones are right there. It's easy to drop stuff right when tests end. You know,
do you work with what's his name up at Coastal Cannabinoids in Waldport? Or is
I
that
have
too far
not
south
been
for
down.
you?
So we don't do anywhere in Walport right now. The farthest south we are is in Newport.
We're at in Newport.
So we're at the medication station in Newport, right on 101.
I go to Newport a lot, so I'll hit it.
Yeah, medication station's great. They have they have good farms. They have like Left Coast Farms on there.
Yeah.
Occasionally they bring in Doghouse as well. Like, I mean, there's just good stuff all around.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Questions, Andy? You talk, man. What's
Yeah.
going on? You're just sitting over there drinking a beer. It's modern times. It
Really
looks good.
high.
Yeah. Off his
Mike
stuff.
got us all high before we started this.
Well,
It's hard to believe.
Yeah, it happens. That's what I do.
Crazy. One thing I did want to talk about is last week we started off the first podcast with a really in-depth talk about semen and how it's used in growing mediums. And Mike had listened to this podcast.
should be
And
added
he came
to your
in today and
questions.
he's like, "Bro, why wouldn't you?" And I was like, "Well, what do you mean, why wouldn't you?" And he's like, "Dude, skeet all day." And I'm like, "Okay, so I'm gonna have to ask Mike again. So what do you think that's bringing to that plant?" I'm just gonna make this a running theme with everybody.
Yeah.
I
That's
agree.
okay.
It should be one of your questions.
Like I said, I don't believe there's any like substantial NPK, but when we're talking about like micronutrients, we're really starting to break into some finesse there.
Yeah.
I think that
Great choice of word.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you really, left-handed, it's it's kind of a crazy way to go about
And
it.
it's a good afternoon.
Sure. I mean, it's a good time.
Yeah.
If that's what
You
you're doing.
think there's enough there to actually do something?
Well, if
do
you
it
brew it,
constantly?
I like to get a lot of bubbles. So just like brew it for a long time until you get a nice head on it.
Oh, yeah, see it really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right.
So when you just add that to your normal tea, or do
Yeah,
you,
like 100 to
do you
1
hold
solution.
back on something because of it?
100 parts semen to 1 part water.
that's how you get that really chlorine flavor.
Yeah. That's disgusting.
We've got to get him.
We had to throw it in.
Can you order this on Amazon?
Yeah, it's totally legal.
Cool. Because the women out there, the lady growers.
Gross.
What?
Gross.
They have a harder time getting a hold of it.
I think it's probably easier.
Is it Amazon?
That's true.
Okay.
In this industry.
Amazon Prime. This is disgusting.
Yeah, right. Well, we had to talk about it. Yeah, so I mean, so much to talk about based around what we're looking at. So I guess kind of what I was getting at earlier is, well, we're Geek Farms, and we're going to own this part of Oregon, is kind of what I'm feeling from you. So what happens when we go nationally legal and some dude's back on the East Coast? It's like DeGard, right? Like, how are they going to get your stuff? Like,
Or do you build a brewery there?
right.
So, I mean, more and more the way that we look at like soil, soil operations and different breweries and stuff like that, that's actually the best way of doing things is to have a remote operation that's within, because we have a shelf life on everything, and for me, I like my weed around, 45 days from chop until about 120 days. And then beyond that, it starts.
You haven't
getting
found
a
any
little-
good storage solutions that'll keep.
We've
it
done a
shelf life?
lot. We've done a lot, but you always get to Browntown after about 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't.
That's another thing
Yeah.
about going into shops locally and
Ugh.
any shop. Like, I'm not
shop,
going to
it
pick on
happens.
anybody, but you open a jar and it's got that decomposing smell and it's got that
Yeah.
brown color to it, and nothing turns me off more. I'm just like, it should, like last week we were talking, it should be like produce, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
it's got a shelf life. And when it looks like that and it smells like that, you shouldn't even be selling it. Like, it's terrible.
Yeah, there's this very
people are
generic
buying it.
kind of flavor
Oh,
that.
people buy it.
Yeah, totally.
It's cheap.
$3 a gram.
Yeah.
$3.
We had dollar grams.
dollar
in town.
grams down.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
The 420.
$40 ounces.
420. That's crazy. 420. There was definitely dollar grams all over the place. So. My
Tasty,
favorite.
right?
So gross.
So I know that with your growing style, a lot of people are we had a lot of bottle stuff talk last week, and we had a lot of tea talk and stuff. But I know with your guys' grow, a lot of it's just under the hood in the soil.
Yeah.
And just a lot of watering. Can you speak to? I mean, I don't want you to give away your secret
Okay.
soup, but what are you doing that normal soil companies aren't doing, or like subcools, super soil?
Right.
You know,
well, that's where it all started for us. I mean, I pretty much started with super soil kind of, or big high, whatever mix you want to go with it. But I started with a charged soil mixture and kind of saw the pros and cons there. And now we kind of make a full soil mixture and a lot of top dressings. And the top dressings allow us to use just water feed systems. So the top dressings are pretty much key to us. We do about, usually be a water tea kind of scenario depending on the strain. But we'll do a microbial tea every about third watering.
Okay.
So.
And what kind of stuff are you using in your tea? Any special shout outs to anybody out there? Or are you doing it all natural, buying the raw?
Special shout out to the worms that make this stuff happen for us.
You like the earths or the red wrigglers? Or
we use a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Red wigglers are definitely our dominant ones in there. But at this point, a lot of what we do, we use a lot of, raw nutrients. I wouldn't say that there's anything from like a provider.
Out there at the coast, you could probably get some. Do you ever go down to the docks and get some fish waste?
You don't carry Baldy and get the.
Well, it's the consistency of those kind of things are really hard for us. So, trying to be consistent in our sourcing of those things. So right now, a lot of that just kind of comes from bulk.
I guess down there you wouldn't be able to guarantee it was dolphin safe either.
You cannot guarantee it's dolphin safe.
For anybody who doesn't know or hasn't been following us, it's over a year ago now.
Oh yeah.
We all got together kind of for the first time and did a meeting of the clans. The guild got together, the geeks got together, and we kind of had this barbecue and hangout. And we came up at that time with dolphin safe cannabis certification. There was like green, like clean green and all that kind of stuff. But
spotted owl friendly.
Yeah, but nothing was saying, were these, are we hurting dolphins?
Right.
So we wanted to go ahead and make sure that was out there. There was some funny
brand
stuff that
value,
came out of that. The April Fool's thing where Aaron Biros on Cannabis Industry Journal put up the article with us
spectacular.
Dude, Mike's like, yeah, we take our old used harpoons and we use them for netting to keep better. Dude, I was dying. But down in the comments there, like, people were getting heated. They were getting heated. This is stupid. What are you talking about? This is ridiculous. Like, all right. Yeah.
I'm okay with that kind of, that kind of talk.
Dude, it was hilarious.
Yeah, that's I like it. I like it when people get really serious about fake things. It's my favorite thing. Like fake news is my favorite.
On
thing.
Reddit, there's a subreddit called Not the Onion, and it's like real. Or what was it called? Not the Onion is the other one. Took the bait or something like that, but it's like people getting really, really salty or heated about onion articles.
Wow!
I love that.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. I mean, I don't really like to mock people, but like when you put yourself out there like that, like
I'm a fan of this thing called the Duffel Blog. It's a military thing, and it's like the Onion but for military guys. So it'll constantly just say like military base shut down due to transgender thoughts,
right?
And and people will just go like nuts on it. Like, of course that's why it happened. Of course it is. And you're like, whoa. This is a fake news site. It's obvious. Right. It doesn't take very much effort to look this up.
Right.
Yeah, it does. People just read headlines and get pissed. It's way more fun that way.
It can be.
So you guys got a lot of your own in-house strains. We know that.
Yeah.
We know you have your special, what Odie calls the alpha cut of the Doctor Who that you play with. From outside breeders, is there anything you guys have been playing with or doing? I know I was offering you up some Ethos by Colin.
Yeah. Always fire gear there. He always does like crazy good stuff with his stuff.
Pretty much I see him as a villain in pro wrestling though.
Totally, I love it.
Yeah,
I know, I like it. I know, I like it.
I like the guy a lot, but he's totally a villain.
Oh, he's like an anti-hero.
There you go, anti-hero.
Like Deadpool is like, God, man, why are you such an asshole? But the best character out there.
He totally admits
yeah.
that he's that way.
As he should. Somebody's got to play that role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like so Dynasty is big in my thing right now. I got a couple other stuff. Huckleberry Diesel is one thing that we're getting ready to really rock and roll.
That sounds fantastic.
So, and then I got some Sunny Chiba stuff in there. You know, I try to keep it pretty local when it comes down to that. How let me just interject here. How live are we right now?
Not.
I need to take a leak.
All right.
Okay, we'll take a break.
I think that, you know, I definitely overbought sours for a couple years there.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of backlog, but it's kind of nice because they're all like 2+ years old, and I'm like, these are dank.
Yeah.
They're all so good when
Yeah.
they were kind of like okay when I got them.
Yeah, now they're fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, and we're back from that quick piss and smoke break. We got Mike from Geek Farms with us once again. Jim and Andy on the other side of the table from me. So Andy says I was kind of rushing through stuff in the beginning there. He wants me to slow it down. So I think we'll just get into a discussion about something fun, you know, kind of wrap this up with just... So it's one of those things, like when mics come on, I do all right with it, but, you know, it's like conversation doesn't flow as good as it does when you're standing around the dab rig, you know. And part of this whole thing is to keep us on YouTube, or to keep us friendly at all. Like everybody I know, like Jay Kitchen and even like Custom Grow 420 and those kind of guys, any sort of consumption on the YouTubes or anything like that, you're gone. Just gonna take you
Custom
off.
Grow just got his channel back yesterday.
Oh, did he?
The day before. So, and he did a 1 gram dab yesterday. So I think the key is really like sales, and that's the same thing with any social media platform, and where a lot of people end up like messing up on like Instagram and Facebook is, you know, they're gonna.
So nobody wants my 12 pounds of kratom.
Yeah, like those are the aspects I think that get people kicked off, and I'm learning more and more, you know, the nuances to it. But yeah, I mean, I wish we could go super hard, but there's people like even Doug Benson and stuff like that, like they're.
Well, something I said to the guys was, if you want videos of some dude taking dabs or some dude smoking out, there's about 1,000 of those out there.
plenty.
Like, you know, I don't know that we need to be doing that necessarily.
Yeah, but we should be able to pass a joint around when we're
At
talking.
some point, I feel like it would be good, like, because we're out there testing their products and trying their stuff, and
Exactly.
being able to do that on camera and show people. Also, I don't know if people want to listen to me cough until I die for 10 minutes.
me
either,
too.
You know,
Me too.
I think it's finding.
I
I think it's just finding that line. You know, like finding what the line is, especially when you have a new show. Like, you know, you don't want to start your first ones with everybody hacking for 20 minutes.
No.
You know.
Yeah.
No, I'll set up
Leave
hack
the cloud
cam,
smoke.
right?
Yeah,
like zooming in and out.
Yeah, it's like having Sam in here and he just hacks the whole show.
I like the idea we hit a button so that the camera goes to they're smoking this or something adult is happening, and then.
Well, I already age gate us purposefully myself. Like, I don't want some mom walking into her kid's room who's 12 years old listening to our podcast and she hears, so yeah, this dude jerks off all over his weed, you know, you know, like, what is this? Oh my God. Like,
Right.
So, you know, and so that was an issue too with some people on Facebook. Well, I clicked the link and it says I have to sign in. I'm sorry, that's just the way that it works. They need to age verify you.
But,
Put in that you were born on 6/9/69. It doesn't matter, you know,
Right.
but just
Something.
Can we call the jerking off into the weed a Harvey or a Weinstein or something like that? Because didn't he jerk off into a plant?
I think
did. Yeah, I heard about that.
So let's
Yeah.
call a Weinsteining.
Was he the original?
I doubt that very much, but and I don't think it was for the same ideas. I think he just needed to get rid of it somewhere. But
I don't think you can use the Weinstein name because it's like trademarked. But you could probably like start up something called
people have been
Harvey's
using
Nutrients.
100% bull semen.
It's 100%.
oh my God.
So
Never watered down.
this weekend is the downtown flame off. We were talking about that a little
Degenerate.
bit. Degenerate, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
degenerate.
get hate.
Flame.
But
Why
usually
is it not
that's
Eugene?
That's a Eugene thing.
Yeah.
What happened? Why is it in Portland? You
I
have
think-
some insight.
I think
we
so.
don't go to it.
Well, I think it was a scale issue and an access issue. You know, most of the artists are based. You know, there's a big glass artist base in Eugene, but a lot of the sales happen up in the Portland area.
Yeah.
And then when we had 2 years ago was the last one that was in Eugene, and we were sponsors of that one, and it was packed to the gills. And to have the amount of area to do like live glass blowing, there's only a few access areas in the city of Eugene that have adequate parking, which the sites that were available here, from my understanding, especially the last one that was here, had horrible parking.
Parking anywhere in downtown Eugene is tight.
Yeah, exactly.
Real tight. Yeah.
So I think, you know, moving to Portland was definitely the best long-term choice for that kind of event to make it sustainable.
Yeah.
Is it
But
at a park? Looked like a park setting.
I don't know exactly where it's at this year, to be honest with
weird.
you. So I was just following. So
Right.
yeah, Sam's going in a little bit here.
He's I can see him out there. He's like antsy.
Yeah, he's ready to go. He
This
can't
is his
wait. Like,
thing.
it's a really fun event, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? They do live glass blowing. There's a functional glass competition, essentially. It's an art-based competition, so they give you like 5 categories. One's, you know, on function, one's on like, you know, artistic preference and stuff like that.
So a rad glass thing I saw, I was in Vegas for Champs. And I guess this was probably 3 years ago or something.
Yeah.
But what they did is the glass blowers had RC cars, like nice ones. And they would build a glass sculpture around the RC car, and then they had this whole section off where all these like high, super fancy glass blowers had their own rigs, and then they had a demolition derby.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, it was tight. You're like watching this, you know, $5,000 piece of glass just get.
Smash.
That's
So
awesome.
that's essentially what, like,
I
so
wanna see that.
my buddies at Handmade Apparel sponsor this Boro Derby.
Yeah.
And they're like little derby cars that roll down a track really fast, you know, and then it's a race, but they're all made out of borosilicate glass.
Oh.
So, you know, some of them shake apart halfway down, you know, because they're going so fast, and some of them just like, you know, die. So it's just this like really scary risk question. You know, like, will it break on the way down? And then some are really super functional, and you're like, holy crap, that worked.
That's awesome.
So yeah, they're doing that too, I think, tonight. So.
Speaking of glass, I always buy cheap stuff. I know I'm terrible. I try to get local cheap
What
stuff.
do you call cheap?
Yes,
Like gas
$50
station?
to $100.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but I break stuff, and I know I break stuff. But when we're talking about like those rad glass pieces are out there, I know some of your homies.
Yeah.
What's the name? The glass studio out there by you.
Oh, Uncorked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. We went there for Grow Geek opening, I believe
Hammer
it was. You
time,
guys
too,
had a
yeah.
party out there.
You were there.
And, man, those
Mike has some crazy.
Do you even
stuff.
smoke out of those for real,
No.
or do you
So
just put them
I-
in a case?
No, absolutely. I've dabbed out a lot of those rigs, and like there's you know, and like going to DFO and stuff like that, like that's where everybody's kind of busting out their $20,000+ rigs, and you're dabbing, you know, out of a $20,000+ rig, and it's pretty cool. And they're art pieces that are semi-functional. You know,
Who's the person that buys a $20,000 piece of glass and uses it on the rig though? Who's that guy? A
honestly,
rapper?
it's usually like, you know, owners or upper echelon managers of, you know, high-end cannabis companies, or celebrities, or, you know, just people that have, you know, expendable income.
Yeah.
That like to smoke weed.
That
You
night
know,
was
I
crazy.
mean,
Do you remember that?
I've had.
I met Brent Michael McCarthy that night at the
Okay.
Hammer Time party.
Okay.
And we're sitting out behind Uncorked, and Mike had used pea gravel, about 6 inches of pea gravel, and I'm sitting on one of those plastic Adirondack chairs, and there's that little table, and this guy sets down a $20,000 piece and prints across from me. I just kind of leaned back, and the chair leg went and acted like an auger, And so I drop down and back, and my foot comes up and kicks that table. And that rig jumps up in Brent's face, man. That's how we met, though. Was him saving that huge piece.
Oh, he saved it?
Yes.
It could have been a better
It's
story.
one of those moments where you're like,
That's the
shouldn't have
save.
put it out there.
Well, that's a homie, right?
Right.
I've known people that have broken
Right?
$20,000+ rigs, and it is not a fun experience.
Yeah.
Samson
We
Mallory.
got
Bring him
Samson. He's up in the window up
Open
there
the door.
doing a little dance.
Something's got his attention.
He's excited.
Look at
He's
that.
He's talking about $20,000 glass. He's like,
He's
"What's
on
up,
the
boy?"
window.
Yeah. The when you break somebody's glass like randomly though, like the conversation afterwards on like how you're gonna
What's
pay
the
for
etiquette
it.
there?
Yeah.
So the etiquette is you pay whatever the hell it's worth. Usually at about usually you'll come to an agreement with the artist or the owner on what said value is. But I've seen brand new rigs
Wow.
that people like just bought, and they're showing it off to people, and somebody drops it halfway through.
I feel like it's your responsibility if that $20,000 piece of glass, unless
Yeah.
you're having somebody sign a freaking contract to touch it, like
Yeah.
it's your responsibility. Like that guy putting that $20,000 thing on a table there in a yard, like. Tell me before you sit it down. This is my $20,000 piece of glass.
Yeah.
And if you break it, you're buying it because I'm going to get up out of that chair and
Yeah,
I'm going to walk away. I'm going to get.
Well, he did. He tried to later. He tried to just get up and leave it and said, "Hey, Brent, will you watch this?" No.
Yeah, but at the same time, so like you have a nice car, you have a Lamborghini. Right?
No, I don't.
No. But say you have a Mercedes, right? And you park it in Walmart, and you park it like way off to the side, right? And you're way out of the way, and some asshole parks right next to you and
Every
dings your
time.
door,
Yeah.
right? Is it your responsibility?
No, that's Walmart's fault.
No, but like you're gonna get pissed off, and you're gonna probably look for compensation. It's the kind of the same thing. You're gonna look for compensation, but at the same time, you're gonna.
But
be
I have
like,
car insurance and I have bonds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there $20,000
Would that
glass
fall under
insurance?
I think some people have.
Would it
car
fall under
insurance?
homeowners?
Yeah.
So,
Could, or it could be.
I mean, there are some rigs out there. Like there's that moon rig that Mothership made. It sold for $100,000. If you don't have insurance on a rig like that,
Right.
like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you have to have something.
So with this DFO up there in Portland, these are the pieces on display, right?
Yeah,
Do
like-
they keep them all behind glass and stuff. No touchy.
Everybody
There's
calls it
some
probably
amazing
footballs.
stuff, and there's usually no touchy, but like all the artists will have their own, like usually their own booths there, and like Mike Philpott's a big one from around here. That's a major player in making sure that happens, and he does some amazing work that's at a reasonable price range too. So it's not all about $10,000 rigs. I mean,
I'll call out a homie too, Jamie Burris. You ever see her stuff?
Yeah, totally.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Back in the day when we first opened the Microgrowers Guild, she came in and it's like it looks like a big round sheet of dabs.
Yeah.
Is the piece of art, but it's like a table topper
remember
kind of
that,
thing.
Oh, cool.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
She does so much like neat stuff in that space of
Right.
art glass and but I know she always does those kind of things too with her click
Right.
but the value of the things once again is I'm not saying I'm poor, but it's a ceiling I don't want to go, I don't know.
Yeah, I've been collecting millies lately, so I get a whole bunch of just semi.
I pretty much get all my
millies.
glass on the Wish app.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, they had some $3 crack pipes on there the
Yeah,
other
it was,
day.
well, it was 10 of them for $3.
Oh yeah, but they were wedding favors.
Well, if you-
specifically,
yeah,
it said
I don't know
wedding
what kind
favors.
of wedding that
If
is.
you need like bulk pipes or something like that, let me know. I have buddies like my buddy Ern that does like straight up great good pipes, and he'll do bulk for you. I mean, if you need that kind of stuff,
So shops around the
there's
state,
some
listen
great-
up. There's local. You don't have to get all the China
You
glass.
don't. There's
local,
local,
yeah.
local glass blowers that do good quality stuff, and Ern does fuming on all of his stuff, and it all looks really good, and at a super super reasonable price for local glass.
And what's his company called?
Ern.
Big Ern, yeah. Big Earn.
Hit up Big Earn.
ERN.
Get after that Big Earn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Earn glass.
Does he still do the hammer the nail in with his spoon?
I don't know.
Is that
I think
him?
he does that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
You can hit a nail with it, his spoons.
Really?
That's pretty crazy.
That's pretty impressive.
So that
That's
shop,
almost gym-proof.
that shop I used to go up to in Portland, and this is back.
Which one?
I'm old.
Pipes Palace.
No, dude, I think it was Head East.
Which one?
Head East.
Oh,
Remember them?
yeah, a little bit.
But you'd go in there and they had these pipes,
Yeah.
and they're like, you can't break this, and they would let you throw it at the wall, like the little brick
I had a
wall.
pipe like that.
Yeah, it did.
One day I dropped it and it broke.
I
I used to throw it against the wall.
one time back in my day, I had one of those pipes, and I was walking down the street, and it was early in the morning, so I had been up all night, kind of thing, and but I was walking home, and Johnny rolls up on me, and he's like, "We heard reports of gunshots in the area. Do you know anything about that?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't hear anything." And he's like, "We need you to empty out your pockets." And I'm a kid, and I don't know my rights, so I'm like. And there's this pipe. Luckily, we had smoked all the weed. But he grabs this pipe, and he's like, "Well, I'm not going to turn you in this time, but we're going to have to break this." And so he takes it, and he hucks it at the ground. And it just ding, ding, ding. And so Tough Guy walks over and goes to give it the boot stomp, right? With the heel of his boot, and just goes to, like, grind it into the ground. Like, almost twisted dude's ankle. Like, he's like, whoa! So pissed. Like, so pissed. And he looks at me and goes, "You break that right now." So, so we were right by a road sign. So I picked it up and hit it against the metal and shattered it. But, oh, man. I was like, maybe I want breakable pipes from now on. It was like one of those one-time things.
Yeah, I had a similar instance where me and my buddy got pulled over, and I had the pipe break thing, and it was China glass, and it went to shatter in no time. So that must have been a really good rig, because whatever we were smoking out of went to like pieces in a second.
It was nice of him not to bust my ass.
Yeah.
That's typical Oregon cop though.
No, this was in Washington.
What? Oh wow.
I was in high school.
Close enough.
I could have gotten a lot of trouble, but I didn't. You imagine that in high school? Remember the few kids, that got popped in high school?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I talked myself out of a few situations.
I know lots of people that got popped in high school.
Yeah, they're really wrecked
I
their
got
life.
popped in high school.
Yeah.
I got popped on prom night.
Did you deserve it?
Like 5 o'clock in the morning in New Jersey.
Well, come on, man.
Oh, I deserved it. I had lots of drugs on me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was the difference between Washington and Eugene. When I moved down here, we were at the, I don't know what it was, at that Further Dead Company or something, but I was 20 maybe. And me and my buddy are walking through the parking lot at that, and we're both toking on joints. And the cops roll up and they look at us and they're like, "Where did you get those?" Like they were looking for like a dealer or something. And I just point to a group of people and I'm like, "Officer, they tried to sell me drugs." and the cop just says, "Fuck you," and peels off. And I was like, "Whoa!" Like, I thought this was gonna be a lot bigger thing.
I thought I was helping.
Yeah, no, it was not helping. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah, the first time I ever smoked in front of a cop was super awkward. I was at a hemp fest in Portland, and me and my buddy from Homebrew Natural Wonders, Mushmouth, or Donnie, we were both walking around, and we were like, everybody was kind of smoking, and there was these cops that just kept staring at us, and we were just kind of like, well, I don't want to not smoke anymore, so we just kind of like pulled it all out, laid a whole buffet of weed out, and just started toking. And we kind of stared at him. He was like, just kind of shrugged and was like,
yeah,
cool.
Weird moment.
So we just kept going. It was like 2 hours of smoking in front of this cop. Like, no big deal.
Wow. So I can't name any names, but I was out on the Oregon coast at a buddy's house. And he wanted me to bring some weed. So I did. And he said he had a friend that needed some weed. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll bring, he wanted an ounce. All right, I'll bring an ounce out. And we're sitting there. And dude rolls through the door, full stater, complete state cop out there on the coast. And I'm like, oh shit, like, am I really getting set up over an ounce?
Wow.
No, he was just there to buy it, like totally smoked out with me. I was like, huh, all right.
The whole time you're like,
my heart was
is this a trap?
Oh
yeah,
my
the
God.
whole thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're never gonna let up. Like you can still
my
get
God.
Growing up on the coast, like where I
Fight or
in
flight.
Lincoln City, our dare cop got busted for
nice.
smoking weed. So that was interesting.
Dare program is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, Nancy Reagan, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nancy Reagan. Big
Yeah.
ups.
Right.
Big ups.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the dare program after that.
Yeah. I still have my Dare program T-shirt. It's got a
Yeah.
lion on it. Yeah, it's
Oh,
awesome.
you got the original. I remember getting that like during the like we did a track and field day. You know,
I still
and
have it. Oh yeah,
That's so
Yeah.
awesome. You're so lucky.
I pull it out sometimes.
You
I-
still is it like
I
a
watched a
medium
whole-
kids?
No, it was a large. I was a large child,
You were a big
and it
boy.
still fits me.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, not me.
I like vintage T-shirts. I do, so I kind
Yeah.
of collect them and I hold on to them and I try not to let them go to hell. Like I saw a thing on Vice, I think it was, about a guy doing vintage T-shirts and he's selling them to like Kanye and stuff.
Yeah.
Like $600 for like a
Jeez.
Holy De La Soul T-shirt. I'm like, ooh, I should have saved my clothes.
So like I buy a lot of like reprints of the t-shirts that I had because like I don't know what it is about my body, but it just breaks down t-shirts. Like there's just like this decomposition in my sweat.
All right, we're coming back.
Cool.
Sorry about that. We had like I said, we're gonna try to get into more of a studio space at some point. But I got one dog who's a mom, and whenever a doorbell gets rang or knock on, she's like sheep herding all the other dogs, and sometimes it gets a little nutty. So sorry about that quick break right there, but we are definitely back at this point. Wow, so that was intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elsa got all pissed about that one.
Super pissed.
Talking about cops, there's a knock at the door.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Antsy.
Yeah. So once again, since we're coming back, Geek Mike from Geek Farms, and I got Jim and Andy here, and yeah, so we kind of got off track there talking about some Dare program kind of stuff and where that's at, but looking like we might get national legalization, so maybe
That'd be nice.
maybe that'll become vintage. at some
Seriously,
Seriously.
what do you think they're really going to do? You think they're just going to say, let states come up with what they want to do and
Yeah.
have it like it is now?
But it doesn't really fix anything just letting states do what they want to do, because as soon as you cross that border, if you're trying to move your product
Right,
into another
changes.
state, you're still breaking federal
But
law.
the thing is, lobbyists aren't making any money off that deal. Lobbyists are going to make big time money off of rescheduled number to 2. And then just fuck all of us over. And you don't think that that's more of a
But
thing that they want to do?
That's you can't just fuck everybody over. 'cause
They
then
can
you're,
do
like,
whatever the
stopping-
hell they
no,
want.
but then you're stopping a supply chain and existing businesses and like that.
Jeff Sessions, Donald Trump.
No, I know, but that saying those two words don't necessarily make it all of a sudden true. On an
It makes
extreme
it
scale.
possible they'd fuck up.
No,
that
we're a
bad.
multi-billion-dollar industry at
We
this
are.
point.
Sure,
So
pass
I mean,
ice cream.
stopping that is. Yeah, exactly. Like we're passing up ice
But
cream.
really, it's the last chance they have to stop it. Like that's
I
their
know, but
last
there is
play.
no stopping at this point.
There
Like,
really isn't. How much money
because-
the state makes off of us,
Yeah,
each individual state.
And you can't expect.
I agree, but
you
I can
can't
see it
expect
happening.
Pfizer to all of a sudden like take over.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't
you can.
work.
Why,
No.
why can't you?
I don't think so.
So where's their THC coming from?
They're the reason why it's been held back for so long.
But
Why-
where's
what
their
makes you think they're
THC
going to
coming
lose out on
from?
that money?
Yeah, they need people like us to be able to grow that.
Sure, and there will be jobs for those people. But you don't think the farms that they can just make it all go away?
No, I think it
No, I
makes
think
more
it's-
sense as being put into the same market as tobacco and alcohol.
Sure.
Like, I mean, that.
No, I
That's where the
I
money
agree with
is.
you guys.
That's where the money
This-
is.
That is what makes the most sense in the real world. Are we living in the real world anymore?
But
Yeah,
but
I think
less
we're-
and,
like,
but less and
you guys all
less,
watch the news?
Less and less we're looking at we can reschedule to Schedule 2, but medical isn't where money is at when it comes down to cannabis. Cannabis money is all about rec, and that's when
Do you
we
think
start
John
talking about-
Bonner joined a recreational cannabis board and got into a business
Exactly.
because he thinks that there's not money
Exactly. Do you think Mike
Yeah, but
Tyson's
he's not involved
into the
in much
medical
anymore.
aspect of things? No, he doesn't give a crap.
No, I understand that, but I just
Gene
in it? So,
Simmons.
is somebody like us going to be able to go into the pharmaceutical realm and battle with them against individualized cannabinoids and things like that
They already
and turning
have.
it into prescriptions? One, they already have it, and
already have
two, we can't do that anyways reasonably. if we wanted to go out and do molecular discovery on plants, go ahead and get stuff and sell that to the pharmaceutical companies so they can do trials on it. Yeah, and there is going to be medicine that can't. But this cat is so far out of the bag.
Yeah,
I
you
hope
ain't
so.
putting it.
There's no legal like recreational
right.
opiate situation, and if we were in that, like then we could have this discussion about like medical Pfizer and stuff like
now,
that.
we're talking about this kind of stuff.
But I think
keep
we're
on
more
seeing
into like that.
I think
cool
they're in the same
aspect
boat.
of things.
They're in the same boat, though.
No, but I think that if you look back towards like the 1900s, when cannabis was, scheduled into it, looked upon as a medical aspect of things, so was alcohol at the same time. There was
And cocaine.
There was medicinal uses for those things, for those drugs. But then it comes on to the same point where we have alcohol that's not just medicinal. It's also very recreational.
Yeah.
But even during Prohibition in this country, you could get a doctor's recommendation for alcohol. You can get prescribed alcohol.
Totally.
Yeah.
You still can.
Really?
Wow.
Really?
You still can, actually.
Who would actually have
So
to do
if you're
that?
an alcoholic and you go into a hospital and you tell them that you're an alcoholic, they'll regularly, usually, just pour beer into your stomach pump. Because then, so that you don't come off.
What kind of beer do they have available at the
I think it's just
hospital?
Natty
usually?
Ice. I think it's
Natty
just
Ice? Oh, my God.
no, but they actually have to because, you'll go through DTs if you don't. It's you're prescribed X amount of beers per day.
Speaking
Wow.
of weird illegal
I wonder
drugs,
how much those
I
cost.
do keep on seeing news that Oregon and Colorado are really pushing towards legalized psychedelic mushrooms. Is that Geek Farms' new chapter? The mushroom
No,
farm?
but
Market.
honestly, when we talk about psychedelics, I think that that's the one thing that should be completely, deregulated. I don't think that there's any reason to really regulate psychedelic mushrooms one way or another.
No.
Right.
I think the difference between a psychedelic mushroom and weed is that on psychedelic mushrooms you can really hurt yourself if you don't know what you're doing. So it needs to be a bit more regulated. There needs to be, if they're going to do a system like that.
Right.
I mean, you can sit down and smoke and eat all the weed you want. It may be really uncomfortable for you, but it ain't going to kill you.
Right. I think
You
I think
can
that,
really hurt yourself.
I think
with
that having
Oh, yeah.
education is key, but getting to a deregulation status of it and not having it as so much stigma allows for free education, and allows for that talk about it versus just saying it's a bad thing and then people just go out and do it anyway versus some real education on how to use it.
I think mushrooms are.
And having safe access too.
For a lot of people, I think there's a lot of benefit to be it ayahuasca or DMT or LSD or mushrooms. And I think there's a benefit for people there. I think a
Definitely.
lot of people
Microdosing
using
is the key.
Well,
Not
it doesn't
don't just eat an
necessarily.
eighth and...
sometimes you need a hard
It
reset.
depends.
man.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
hard
you're right,
resets
you're right.
are something intense.
Yeah.
So
But I also don't think that you let a guy go into a store and buy an ounce, Kabinzi's and go home and just house the thing.
yeah, we talked you just mentioned DMT. I don't know how many people here have used DMT, but DMT is a real drug. That's a real drug, and it sends you to a whole other space.
Yeah.
So, not knowing what you're doing
I believe
before
I
you
was
do
at the
DMT.
crossroads of the universe. All light travels to one place.
Yeah.
It's like a grid, but it all ends at one central globe
Yeah.
of light, and that's
Yeah.
where everything comes from. And the guy will take you there.
Yeah, I envision
The guy will show up, open the little door, he'll take you there.
mine was
I think I'm totally into that.
It's like Mario Kart world, but the princess is like God, and you got to talk to her.
Who's Bowser?
Oh, jeez, that guy. You gotta just avoid him. Just avoid him the whole time. It's like, Bowser, no, get away.
Awesome. Yeah, I wouldn't mind to see that though. But I think any use of it should be done supervised by somebody that has an education in
It's
how
like a certified.
I think
guide.
so.
I think being
be
able to
because-
talk about it openly is
Yeah.
key. Cannabis has been kind of the same kind of thing. There's been so much stigma over the last, 50 years of don't talk about it. Even though you use it, don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And
It was
the same
very
kind of
important
thing
for me
with
not to talk
psychedelics.
about it. I lose my job.
Yeah,
man.
Right,
Absolutely.
exactly. And I think it's the same thing with psychedelics. I think that it's, You talk about it at work, you're probably going to lose your job, dude. Like, that's psychedelics.
Yeah.
But realistically, when we start talking about like mushroom, acid, and different, ways of, DMT and those aspects of things, as long as they're not abused, just like with anything, as long as it's not abused, I think that it's kind of.
And I want to say something to the conservatives out there.
So do I.
I know you don't like drugs, but understand that all of these things we are talking about do have medicinal uses. They're not just recreational. And whereas a lot of the times you feel like your alcohol consumption is recreational and not medicinal, really take a look at it, because a lot of people I know out there, especially alcoholics that are drinking on a regular basis, are using it as a form of self-medication.
Combat veterans, for example, with alcohol, actually it's been the standard for self-medication. Alcohol has been like the steadfast, and I'll tell you from firsthand experience, it's true. Like with combat-related PTSD, you have running thoughts, and the fastest thing to stop it is alcohol. One thing that is also equally that way is cannabis. It's just that the access for alcohol is much easier.
Sure, any corner store.
Right, any corner store, and you can get to it quick. I can get really hard alcohol today. I can get a bottle of Jack Daniels today, and it's going to fix my problem.
Sure.
And in most states, you can't get just an ounce of weed somewhere, but luckily for me, I was able to, make. I used alcohol as a as self-medicating until I found cannabis as like a real use. I was comfortable with drinking alcohol the moment I got home, from work. I wasn't comfortable smoking weed the moment I got home from work.
Right.
So that's the difference.
I also got the mental health people I went and saw. My doctors all gave me I have PTSD from things that happened in my past, and a lot of panic attacks and anxiety attacks from it, fight or flight for no reason, all that kind of stuff. And they had me on like the antidepressants and the Xanaxes, and like that does not resonate with me. I don't like feeling good all the time. You shouldn't feel that way all the time. Like life is stress, and life is anxiety, and life is good, and life is bad. But when you're on those drugs, everything, it's like even. Just everything's mellow and even. And that's no way to live your life. Like, that's not a life work to me.
Yeah.
I like to feel a little bit one way or the other. Alcohol became kind of a crutch for me for a while, because I could adjust, hey, man, I'm having a really bad day, I'm going to have a six-pack.
Right.
But
Shandy.
also just self-medicating myself. I found like high THC stuff gives me anxiety. A lot of it does. Like knock your dick in the dirt indica I can do, but sativas freak me out. Like I freak out.
A ghost train haze.
But that's when I got into like
that.
CBD and stuff, and now I eat a constant amount of CBD oil every day, and like where I was on tons of benzoates and antidepressants, now I'm on very little to none, which is. So, do I get anxious still? Absolutely. Do I get sad? Absolutely. Do I get happy? Absolutely. But I think that's living, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to shut that off. But cannabis gives a lot of people, especially veterans, that opportunity to feel alive and feel like they're living a life worth living, and not feeling like they're turned on mute all the time.
We talk a lot about when it comes down to that. Like you kind of hit it on the head. A lot of what cannabis does is it shortens down recovery times. Right, so I still have panic attacks. I still have anxiety attacks, but instead of like lingering on it for 6 to 8 hours, I can get over it in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Especially if you end up like I'm having a panic attack, you smoke some weed, you're over it in a few minutes. It's able to have that immediate effect that a lot of things don't. And that's the thing with smoking cannabis that has been so beneficial for so many different people, and why edibles don't necessarily do it, because it's not an immediate consumption kind of thing. Why alcohol is kind of short term, and
for me, edibles is worse. I'd rather do nothing.
Well, for me, for like long term use, when it comes down to edibles and THC content, it's very, very hard. There's a fine line. Having it's this constant, this always full versus always empty kind of thought process. So a lot of in therapy, like what we talked about, was like having a glass, and with PTSD, with combat-related PTSD, you're always walking around with your glass half full. So the ability to add one little ounce on one little ounce, and you're overflowing. And that overflow is when you start having real big panic attacks, right? So with edibles, you're able to start with a little bit less water in your glass every single day. So It's just finding that line of like, because if you dry your glass out, you're having the opposite effect, right? You're having more panic attacks because you're never going to get to this comfort level, which is in the middle. And that's where you should be.
See, because that's where, like, we've talked when I work with you, is like, it's that sense of always being on point.
Right.
And then never giving. I'm going through this revelation of, like, it's okay to smoke weed.
Yeah.
You know, like, one day I call him, I'm like, I'm freaking out. Remember? And you're like, are you smoking enough weed? Which was surreal to have a boss say, you smoking enough weed at work? You know, I mean,
yeah.
It's so real. I mean, I don't know. Just, that's what's so cool about this is, like, I mean, I learned something today from that idea of the balance.
Yeah.
You know, because we try to anesthetize ourselves. Because I do extremes.
Mr. Miyagi from The Karate Kid would like you to know life is all about balance.
It is.
Well, and I used to eat a lot more cannabis than I do today. I've backed off a lot just due to like business stuff.
Yeah.
Just to be more clear-headed and to be able to start my day a little bit more. But it's also kind of like, when is that therapy, good enough? I mean, I'd been eating 500 to 600 milligrams of THC every day for 4 years. And so for me, it was kind of like I had to feel like I had to try it out for a little bit without doing it, completely. So for now, I've been 5 months without taking daily cannabis.
Smoking every day, though, right?
A lot. Yeah, I actually smoke a little bit more than I used to because of the amount of THC overall that I have, but it's more of that immediate stuff, or that, because I'm realizing that my glass is not half full all the time. And after that continual therapy, I'm more at about a quarter full. So I have this head room that I can kind of get into where it's not as intense throughout the day. It takes me a lot more to fill my glass. And that's great, but it's something that I wouldn't have learned until I kind of backed off a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
See, what about you take mostly indica or sativa?
So, in my eyes, THC is THC. And if you cook it appropriately, you decarboxylate it appropriately, then it's all the same.
But what about smoking? Because a lot of people out there are going to listen to this.
Smoking is a different story.
They're going to want to smoke.
Smoking is a whole different story. So
But what I'm getting at is we live where we know what we're getting.
Yeah.
The rest of the world does not.
Totally.
Outside California, Washington.
And that's why
Colorado.
I actually started growing my own stuff.
Sure.
One of the main reasons, like, it was expensive, and then it wasn't consistent. I was getting a great, something that was changing my life.
Now picture same situation in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Or
so what you
South
do,
Carolina.
So why do I feel like West Virginia has dank?
Random place.
Right. I bet you West Virginia's got some
Dude,
dank.
I don't know what it is, but I think you're right.
I know.
Like, I don't know what it is. I've been stranded in West Virginia.
Vermont
It was
to
like the
West Virginia.
scariest thing in my life. But like, there's so many like gullies there that nobody gives a crap. Like, there's no cops there. You know that.
But you don't know what you're getting. You know the strain names, and it comes off out of the mail, and so the guy changes the name because they didn't like it. He thinks it'll sell better with this name.
I mean, it sucks. Like, what are you gonna do?
Well, I think that might turn a lot of people away, especially if they're looking like, okay, Mike says for me to do this. I'm in the same situation as Mike, but they get some crazy Hawaiian sativa, and they're whacked out of their minds, racing, and they want to, and it's worse and it's terrible, and they never want to go back to it because they had a terrible experience.
That's happened with lots of
experience.
older patients that I've worked with, and they'll come to me and they'll be like, "Oh, I've tried cannabis before, and it gives me panic attacks or anxiety." And it's like, "Well, what did you have?" And it'd be like, "Oh, I don't know. My buddy brought it to me. He said it was Panama or something." And you're like, "Well, that might be a part of it."
Yes,
right.
But I when you hear people talk about how it works for them and they do this and this, but they never talk about the fact that it took them how many times to figure out what works for them,
right?
Or even, again, we're here where there's weed everywhere. We can go get whatever strain and know everything about it and everything easily. The rest of the world is not like this.
No, totally.
And that is a major problem.
I mean, it really it does, and it sucks. I was lucky enough that when I was experimenting with my cannabis intake, I had 5 to 6 different strains that I could fuck with, and I could realize quickly that that one doesn't work. I'm gonna have to either trade my buddy for something that's like works better for me and that he likes this stuff, or just set it off to the side and cook it up and eat it later on. And that's really the key to that. But I mean, it sucks. Like, I wish I could say that there was a better solution for people to be able to select, things easier. But I think the key is just to try and know that it's a solution eventually. And
Try more than once.
Yeah, try more than once.
Try different something different flower.
Because like I said, when I started really smoking cannabis for medicinal uses, the first dozen times it was spectacular. It was life changing.
I think a huge part of my therapy with using marijuana too, and I think a lot of patients should take this advice, is growing the plant.
Yeah.
Growing the plant for me brings me as much peace and harmony as using the plant in a lot of cases. Just being present with the plants where they're growing, or medicating near your plants, or being in that environment with the plants is so relaxing to me.
It's just like growing your own vegetables. I mean, you always they taste better. They make you feel healthier. You've gone through the effort of doing it. There's love that's there no matter what. But you're growing it for reasons that you want to grow it for.
Yeah.
If the smell is appealing to you, that's usually going to, in the end, be appealing.
Dude, tomato vines smell rad.
You love tomato vines?
Oh, it smells so good.
I think it smells toxic. I think it smells like a chemical.
I also like the Tahoe OG that smells like rotting breath. So
so there you go.
I like the stank.
Yeah, I feel like tomato plants smell like chemicals.
Yeah, it's dank.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I like it, but it's in that weird chemical.
What terpene
flavor.
do you think it is?
I don't know.
You know, it's a terpene that's doing that. So
yeah, I'd have to check into
Is that a terpene or a flavonoid?
Oh, well,
might be.
yeah.
It depends. Put it on your tongue and see what it does.
I ain't trying to do that.
No, let's get it tested and find out.
No.
Then breed for it.
OG Analytical doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
That's deep. Too
Wow.
soon? Too
I
soon?
don't know. Maybe too soon.
No, it's not. Fuck them.
Absolutely. I just try to keep that word out of my mouth.
What about, you guys hear about the select strain stuff?
Oh, I love
Yeah.
it.
Dude,
What an
yeah.
asshole.
That's news.
He's suing, so I don't know how much I want to say about it. He's suing people about it.
I'm just talking about what's in the headlines.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about I'm not making opinions on anything. I'm just saying that there's some stuff happening there.
I mean, if it's all true, should everybody take everything off the shelves?
Well,
And how many people?
it's a fine line. Like select strains, I mean, what do you what do you expect out of it? I mean, who?
It's big corporate. It's in every single store.
Yeah, I mean, but
with the OG Analytical thing, the shops came out and said, we'll no longer support them. We're going to sell through the product we have tested by them on the shelf, but we're not going to take in anything else tested by them. I don't think it's fair for the stores to have to eat that much damage unless they can send it back to the company.
Yeah,
totally.
But I think if they feel strongly about what he did and they think that it was wrong and a bad thing, which, I mean, it makes sense that people would feel that way, put your money where your mouth is and quit buying things from that person. That has to do with any business in this state. If you don't like outside money coming in, if you don't like the way somebody runs their stuff, you don't like what somebody says, then don't support that person.
Right.
That's your right as a shop owner.
Yep.
A lot of shop owners can't see past the tip of their nose, though, and they see, well, I can get this stuff for real cheap and I can make a bunch of money. So there's no, So then as consumers, if that's something that really bothers you, then go ahead and go to the shops that bring in products that make you feel good or, are questionable to your ethics or morals,
How has Select responded? Have they set up any kind of
they
sensitivity
tried
training?
to sue somebody, I heard.
Yeah, they sued. They sued 12 unknown individuals.
Yeah.
So they just set out a random lawsuit on whoever they think that might be doing it. So competitors, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So nothing. They all listed as Jon of Doghouse.
Anything I read, though, it didn't seem like a competitor hate thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like anything in the industry that happens like that and people get called out, it's like, the movement with everybody in Hollywood coming out. And
there was just a fact stated. And the
Yeah.
fact was stated that he settled with somebody based on, the owner of Select Strains settled with somebody based on a allegation of misconduct. And the response to that was, hey, somebody said, in social media, hey, this is what happened, boycott these people. I don't think that saying, anything...
That all sounds like
that.
facts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
But if it was a comedian, Netflix would pull other specials.
Oh yeah, I mean,
That would've been
that's kind of like
investigating anything.
That's the funnest
his
part
world
about that discussion.
is he puts stuff in the stores, and so without knowing the whole story, with knowing what people have read, like, and especially in this culture nowadays, it's what you do says a lot about who you are, and I think things should be that way. But if stores feel like this happened and I don't feel comfortable with it, then put your money where your mouth is. Take the stuff off and don't buy it.
People haven't stopped seeing movies.
But where's the education in that? Like, so if you're not allowed to say, this company, this company's CEO did X, how is the store owner supposed to even understand that happened?
Also, another
or
thing we got to think
consumer.
about, like what would happen with Roseanne. She said she played a stupid game, won a stupid prize. 200 people lost their jobs because of it that had nothing to do with it. I don't partake of select. I don't use their products.
Right.
I'm sure there's people that really like their products, and I'm sure the people that work there really enjoy their jobs.
Yeah.
So is it fair to blast all these people for one guy's choice? So as a company, I feel like it's what should happen is he should be taken out of the company.
Right.
And the company should be able to thrive and continue going on. It's not the company didn't go out and do something to somebody.
Right.
No, you're right.
A person did. So if that company wants to be supported still, they have to remove the piece that people don't want to support.
Right.
Yeah.
I completely agree, and that's something that like today's society it's so unique to today because of social media and the ability to, blackball somebody.
Like a whole corporation or a whole industry or like a, the whole business. Like, who knows if the people working there even had a iota of a clue that anything like that ever happened. I doubt that's something you're going around bragging about, like, so.
Honestly, it doesn't even matter if it happened in a lot of these things anymore. Just the news is so fast and so rampant. You take the pieces that you get, and it's did it even happen at all? You're already all right. That guy's an asshole. Next, now there's 40 million other things coming at you.
The judge and jury is just Reddit.
Yeah, exactly.
Tumblr.
Okay, everybody hates this guy. He probably did it.
There was a Reddit thread that said,
is terrible.
This guy was a douchebag, so obviously he's a douchebag.
I've been using
That's terrible for society.
It really is.
I've been using Reddit for 7 years now, and I want to say it's been that long. Damn, it's probably that long. They have surpassed Facebook in American users at this point.
Wow.
Samson's really into Reddit.
I love Reddit.
I get all my info from him.
I get a lot of news from Reddit. It is skewed extremely left. I like to feel like I'm pretty center line about a lot of things. Really, in my life, I like liberal left. That's who I am. But I like my news to be fair and not biased.
Like CNN.
Reddit's a little left-leaning, but in the comments, you'll see an article and it's left-leaning, but when you drop down into the comments, they have a really good discussion, which I like.
I like to devil's advocate things, even though I'm not into it.
Yeah. So we are at an hour and 37 minutes of recorded time, so I think we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up.
I'm sure there's chicken wings on the smoker.
We got some smoked chicken wings. I really want to thank Grow Magazine for coming out. Let's pick up our phones and see who liked what, and let's go ahead and pick a winner for that.
Let's see.
Some guy named OG Empire. Looks like he won.
OG Empire.
It says Adam Jacques. He won. Awesome.
Let's see. I have a lot of people commenting on things, but let's see.
I got nothing.
Wesley Hicks says, "Where the blue dream at?"
Where Wesley Hicks gets the blue dream all the time. That's
good for him. We did talk about it.
Oh, Wesley.
Him and his lovely blue dream.
Do you have a winner?
Shady Nasty.
You guys
Shady
have
Nasty
more comments
23.
That's what I saw. Yeah.
I like this one.
Hang on, I'm coming around that.
Well, Morganic's a good one, and I think that he's always pretty solid on his comments and input.
He's I think he's him and Wesley go at it.
Yeah, well, Wesley is Wesley, and then you get.
I have never met.
I
him in
want to do
person.
a whole segment on Wesley
Yeah,
Hicks at some
so-
point. He's like one of the most hated people in like
Yeah.
the industry,
Right.
But I like the guy.
Okay, so we haven't.
I like the guy.
I've never physically met Wesley.
I've never met
But
him.
we talk every morning on Messenger.
I guess I met him
He
one
worked on
time.
our farm last summer.
I know.
I guess I
Never
met him one
around.
time at your farm, and he never introduced himself. And then it just all kind of bypassed from there.
Right.
So I've met him. I've never met
I'll
him.
get screenshots with just these crazy takes that are hilarious.
Yeah, it looks like
He's
a
funny.
Morganic.
Yeah.
A Morganic.
So shout out to Morganic Johnson. Congratulations on winning yourself a 2-year subscription to Grow Magazine. I'll go ahead and get a hold of you and get your information here in the next couple of days, and we'll get that started for you. Really want to thank Mike from Geek Farms, Geek Mike, the Geek, for coming out.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I will continue buying your product. Please put more into stores.
Thanks.
I smoke it faster than you can grow it. So
Greener
you guys
side,
get more.
That's a
Eugene.
good place to be.
Yeah.
That's always the greener side, and Eugene is always the first spot.
Here,
for-
where else can people get it in the state?
You've got
Herbal remedies in Salem.
Herbal Remedies in Salem, Natural Wonders, Oregon's Finest, and
American.
Ivy in Portland, and then all up and down the Oregon coast, pretty much.
You said you weren't in Waldport, so it's not all.
We are
over
not in Walport right now.
I-
But,
I still remember when Samson got hit by that ocean-bearing deer.
well, we actually we came up and we saw a deer on the
Right.
side of the road staring at us, and I
Right.
just was waiting for it to hit Sam's car.
It came from the
There he
ocean
is.
side.
He's waiting for you.
Yeah, just staring at him like I'm gonna get
He got you, you son of a bitch. You got my brother.
Right. Well, thank you, everybody. Hope this one holds up, and we are going to cut out and go have ourselves some smoked chicken.